Didn't you know? Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Entertainment System was the first video game ever created, and set the precedent for every video game to come afterwards. One such precedent was the inclusion of a point system, where players could compete to see who could get the lowest score after skipping 90% of the game by using the hidden warp pipes. In addition to the point system was the lives system, where players started with 3 lives and could slowly build up lives by collecting coins or 1-up mushrooms. This was both a means of making the game easier for non-competitive players, as well as a way of making gamers feel less bad about wasting their own life playing video games. Super Mario Bros. Is most popular for its fast-paced competitive platforming gameplay. However, this wasn't the plan initially. At the beginning of the game's development, series creator Scott Cawthon wanted there to be no platforms at all, instead having the game consist solely of a never-ending void that Mario would fall down endlessly. Scott Cawthon had intended for the game to be a symbol of the gaming experience. However, playtesters found that this took away a significant portion of the game's replayability, and so Cawthon reluctantly added in platforms and a ground level for the player to walk on. A remnant of this thought process is actually still present in the game in the form of warp pipes, which were made in an attempt to reduce how much time the player spends playing the game. One of the most infamous tricks in video game history is the infinite 1-up trick in World 3-1. This trick requires the player to jump on a Koopa's shell at a specific distance away from a staircase to cause it to bounce back and forth infinitely, resulting in an extra life for every bounce after the first couple. While it may seem like a glitch, it was actually put in the game intentionally. When asked about it in an E3 interview following the game's release, Scott Cawthon explained that it was a reference to his formative years. "I used to jump on turtles for fun. It's horrible, I know, but I didn't know any better as a kid. I eventually began feeling my soul slowly absorbing their life force, and the next thing I knew, I was immortal. I haven't died since then, nor has anyone around me. Except for the turtles. 11th grade was a weird time for me." He also went on to explain that the souls flying up after their death was the inspiration for the death animation of the titular characters of a future release, known in America as Pikmin. The main protagonist, Mario, was based off of Scott Cawthon himself. Cawthon intentionally gave Mario a winning smile similar to his own, and made him into a successful icon in the video game industry. Goombas in Super Mario Bros. Were also of a unique origin. The idea to have a mushroom-shaped enemy was actually due to Scott Cawthon's horrible allergy to mushrooms. He explained in a 1985 Nintendo Direct that he had been forcibly fed mushrooms by his little brother all the time, which led him to having horrible nightmares all throughout his childhood. When later asked about why his little brother did such a horrible thing, Cawthon simply sighed, replying, he was tired of being player number 2. The main antagonist, Bowser Koopa, was based off of the real-world brother of Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser. Doug had always wanted to have a little brother, and so he decided to experiment with alchemy, FMA style, and ended up creating a horrific monster in the real world. The monster wreaked havoc upon Nintendo HQ until they agreed to put him in the game as a main character, and so his likeness ended up being used for the design of Bowser in the main campaign of Super Mario Bros. They weren't able to fully create a 1-to-1 model of Bowser until later hardware advancements, however, so the world wouldn't know about the true horrors of Bowser until the sequel to Mario Bros., Luigi's Mansion for the Nintendo GameCube. Didn't you also know that the moon in Majora's Mask was actually based off of the character Tingle? If you want to know more trivia on Zelda and other obscure video game series, look out for the Didn't You Know Video Games episode on Majora's Mask. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to leave a like and press the subscribe button to show support. If you want a chance to see episodes a week before their release, consider checking out the Patreon. Thank you to the patrons who are currently supporting the channel on Patreon, and look out for new episodes of Didn't You Know Video Games.